Hello, welcome to the Oral Health Podcast. We are taking a look at mouth cancer in a bit more detail this month because it is Mouth Cancer Action Month. So we're going to have a sit and a chat and talk about the risk factors for mouth cancer with Karen, our favourite dental nurse. How are you doing, Karen?
I'm very good, thank you. I rolled out again, dust me off, pull me out of the cupboard.
Yep.
Stick a mic on me and I'm on.
Brilliant. So, but you know a lot about this stuff. And so if we talk about the risk factors for mouth cancer, smoking is a very obvious one. But yeah, just let's have a chat.
Yeah, so I mean, I obviously, as you've mentioned, smoking. Smoking is the top one. I would like to think it's probably, hopefully dropping a little bit as people, more and more people quit smoking, but it's still a big risk. It's a risk to a lot of other illnesses as well.
Absolutely.
And I think we're pretty well versed on what smoking can cause. I'm not sure that everybody would realise it causes mouth cancer, but we'll add that one into the mix of all the other things as well. Drinking alcohol can also be a risk factor. Tends to be more spirits as well, because I think they're held in the mouth a little bit longer. So, but any alcohol. So we've got smoking, drinking. Then we've doubled our chance if we smoke and drink.
Yep.
So those are the biggest ones that people might have heard of.
Yeah.
Now there are other ones. Now, when we talk about smoking, we're talking about tobacco. So we're looking at smokeless tobacco as well. So the betel nut, the snus, those kind of things that are made into a little parcel and they're kept into the side of. You can't see me pointing, but I'm pointing where it is. Between your teeth.
Cheek.
Yeah, inside of your cheek, between your teeth and your cheek.
Although
down
some
in that
people
bit.
hold them here, like above the
Above.
eye tooths.
Yeah, that's fine.
Low.
That's still the sulcus. That's what it's called. Technical term.
sulcus.
A sulcus, yes. So that is the bit between the bottom of your mouth or the top of your mouth and your cheek on the outside. So they sit with it in there, and it tends to follow that the cancer will form where they've been holding this thing. So if they hold it in the same place every time, you almost can see a very classic reaction. So that is a risk factor as well. So we kind of put that in with smoking because it's tobacco.
And one of the dentists who we've been featuring on our TikTok account through Mouth Cancer Action Month, she used to work in a dental hospital and would see loads of people come in and get checked, and then the heart would just sink because they could look and see like you say, exactly where they would hold their pouch. You'd see the lesion, and it's like, oh no. And she saw countless cases like that, and it's really sad.
Yeah. And it's normally when you've got a lesion like that, it's normally quite a late stage as well. So it's about seeking the appropriate treatment at the appropriate time. So it's just that. So then we go on to the probably lesser known ones. So we talk about UV light, sunlight.
Yeah.
So when we're out on holiday or when it's very sunny here, it's really important to wear like a lipsil that's got a high SPV level.
SPF?
SPF, yeah. What's SPV?
I don't have a clue.
Is
I
it
think
a
you made
car?
that up. I've never heard that before, Karen.
I know what I meant. No, so when you go out, factor 30 plus if you can on your lips, because mouth cancer also includes the lips as well. So you can get it sort of around, on the lips and the surrounding area. So make sure you've got your SPF.
Isn't it funny how we put sun cream all over our body and then don't put anything on our lips most of the time?
I do, you see.
But you're a dental nurse.
Okay.
So I never would have done. And
Accepted.
I don't think I know many people that do.
I carry one in my bag all the time.
See, I would carry a lipsil, but not for like have an SPF in it, just if I've got dry lips.
Okay, well, a lot of them do have SPF in it, but look for it, because then you don't have to buy two different ones. And I know in the winter, you know, we perhaps don't think of the sun, but there is still UV. It's still in the sunlight. So, you know, a lot of face creams and things like that have them in automatically, and we don't know that we're using them, but we're getting protection on our face. And as you say, we forget about our lips. So it is important to not only keep your lips hydrated so they don't sort of crack up and, you know, are painful, but from the point of view of UV light. So that's an important one. And the other one is HPV, which is the human papillomavirus.
Yep.
That is the biggest growth of...
the new kid on the block.
It is indeed, for mouth cancers. So HPV, for those who don't know, is predominantly causes cervical cancer in women.
Yep.
So we vaccinate girls in year 7 or year 8 in schools, and then they are immune to the HPV causing strains. There are thousands of strains of HPV, and we probably all will have had it at some point in our lives. There are only certain ones that cause cancer, and you know that's why we have the vaccine. So, okay, the girls were being protected. Now, we know now that HPV causes mouth cancer. So, the mouth cancer was predominantly being with, you know, people who hadn't been vaccinated, and boys and men, because we weren't vaccinating them because it was thought, well, they don't have a cervix, so how are they going to get cervical cancer? But strains 16 and 18 of HPV cause mouth cancer.
And there are hundreds of strains of HPV.
Yeah.
The vaccine protects against the main ones that can cause cancers.
Yeah.
And strains 16 and 18 are included in that. And like you say, they're the ones that are the likely culprits.
They're the ones that we want to avoid.
Yeah.
So we did campaign several years ago, and jabs for boys. So now boys are included in the HPV vaccine programme. So it's really, really, really important, if you have a child of that age, male or female, when they're offered the vaccination, please take it up. It's so important. And there has been a drop in the vaccine uptake. We know that this is partially because children weren't in school for a long period of time. So there is a vaccination programme going on. But if your child is 11 or 12 and hasn't had the vaccine and has not been invited from school, please speak to your doctor's practice, and the nurse can give it.
Yeah.
The nurse can give it to a girl up to 24.
I think boys up to 12 must be about the same.
I think
right?
it's about the same, but the boy has to be born after
The year where it
2009.
was, yeah.
Yeah, but then they can still get it. If a male is having MSM sex, they can get the vaccine up to the age of 45.
Yeah, MSM, men who have sex with men. Just,
Sorry.
yeah. Not everyone's as down with the kids as you are, Karen. Yeah, so men who have sex with other men can qualify for the vaccine for free. Yeah. Again, talk to either a gum clinic or sexual health outreach team about it if that applies to you.
I mean, that just to elaborate slightly, we obviously the vaccine at the start was only given to girls because they have a cervix. You can get penile anal cancer as well from 16 and 18. So that's why we want to vaccinate MSM men.
Yes.
Okay, just to clarify that, because it can be a little bit confusing. It is transferred by oral sex, anal sex. So
any sex, any unprotected sex.
Any unprotected sex. So it is best, even if you've had the vaccine, let's just be safe anyway. But it's difficult, isn't it? So do you send somebody out, say like a young male who didn't get into the vaccine programme, does he have to ask every sexual partner if they've had the HPV vaccine, because then it will keep them safe. Now that's a really difficult conversation to have.
Absolutely, and I think that's not even just about HPV. People don't talk about these things enough with new partners or even old partners. Like,
I read some evidence that HPV is growing in a certain sector of the population. Women on their second time round relationships. Because they haven't had to think about those things for, they might have been married 20, 25 years, and they're setting out in a new relationship. It's kind of like going back to the start again. You don't know where that person's been, kind of thing.
So, where they've been, Karen, that sounds so sinister. I don't know where you've been.
Yeah, so it is something, but I mean, young people are much more open than perhaps in my day, and maybe even your day, but...
yeah, I would agree.
I find they talk about things more. I know there's nothing worse. My daughter, when we went over and we spoke to her, her word,
Tabitha, disappearing between the sofa cushions to try and get away from the conversation.
When we were talking to her housemates at uni, and we brought up the subject of HPV and oral sex. And as you say, my daughter was sort of cringing, but she knows I talked to her about it. I talked to her brother about it. I talked to all of her friends about it. Whether they want me to or not. I'm kind of. But I think it's really, really important to understand that this is a massive growing area, and whilst we know about smoking and drinking, we don't really think that our sex life is actually a killer.
Risk. Yes.
And
I work with teenagers, and I would absolutely agree.
She doesn't mean me, by the way.
They are much more open than you think if you're willing to listen to them. And I have to go on sexual health training because of my job. And my bit of advice, if I can give it, is if you put a condom on and you've put it on the wrong way, most people will take it off, flip it round, do it again. Do not do that. The bits in the pre-cum that can cause infection and virus spreading come out in those first few little droplets. So that is the little bit that you are then flipping inside out and can infect people with. So that's my advice for you.
Oh, thanks for that.
But it's true.
Yes, and I think that
disease prevention, man.
Yeah, I mean, the more
Sexy.
we talk about it, the more people will not feel it's not a taboo subject, and I don't know why. We're very British about it, aren't we? And don't ever use the right words for things and talk about things below the neck. I mean, the sooner we start talking to our kids about looking after themselves and a healthy, we're going off the tangent a little bit, but having a healthy relationship with themselves, their body and their partners, I mean, that is really important.
Absolutely.
But yes, I mean, those are the things that you really need to, those are your risk factors. Mm-hmm. Age as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Family
history.
A lot of people are over 60. We tend to say the risk factors are a male over 45, but that's not necessarily, stopping there. We have found that mouth cancer is affecting people a lot younger than that, and a lot more women. In fact, I don't know what it is about it, but most of our ambassadors are women, aren't they?
Yes.
But men are still suffering with it more than women. But we have, I don't know why it is. Perhaps men don't want to talk about it.
This is true, maybe. Yeah.
And I always think that sharing helps. I think.
Yeah.
And
just not sharing HPV.
Not sharing HPV. No, don't share those things, and don't smoke, and don't put things inside your cheeks, and I mean we're not saying don't do anything, but
be safe.
Just try to be a little bit safer.
Yeah.
I know that social drinking, I mean, I don't think does anybody any harm. It's quite relaxing, isn't it? But smoking is too dangerous.
Yeah, it is. And There's other things that we could talk about, like some genetic conditions can put you at a higher risk for developing mouth cancer. These are incredibly rare, and if you have one, you will have been told about your increased risk. So that's not generally something the general population has to worry about, because these specific conditions come with a lot of other health concerns that you would be very aware of. But no, I think we've really summed up in just 15 minutes, if you can believe it. I
mean, the thing is, some of them you can avoid.
Yeah.
So you can avoid smoking, drinking, you can avoid HPV, you can avoid UV light and sunlight. You can't avoid being a male. You can't avoid being over 40.
Can't avoid ageing.
No, as you keep telling me. So those things that are out beyond our control, but there are some things that are within our control. So reducing those will lower our risk.
Absolutely. Next time we're going to have a little bit of a chat about the different symptoms you can experience with mouth cancer, and then we're going to hear from someone very important. And we're getting very highbrow, Karen. We've got professors coming on our show to talk about PTSD and mouth cancer links.
I'm going to be put back in the cupboard, aren't I?
Yeah, I hope so. Okay, I'm going to turn it off now because she looks quite angry. Bye.